It seems these three were born with a slide rule in their hand. Each of them is able to make very difficult calculations in their head. Today, they're ready to undergo any trial to prove that their abilities are not just a set of mathematical tricks. Will Manizha be able to perform three difficult actions simultaneously? Play the piano, sing in two languages, and do mathematical calculations accurately. Goodbye, calculator. Will Anvar be able to prove that his brain can do very difficult mathematical calculations, multiply and divide 3, 4, 5, and even 10-digit numbers?
39, 183.
A decoding superhero. Will Timur be able to decode fast and accurately all numbers which are represented in binary code form?
The number is 1001.
Whose abilities will pass our computer test? Who will withstand the mathematical fight with our experts? And finally, which participant will be recognized as the best?
Hello, my name is Manizha, and I'm 15 years old. I'm from Tajikistan, from the city of Dushanbe, and I love math very much.
Manizha's passion for the exact sciences is quite a new feeling for her. Only 1 year ago, every mathematics or geometry lesson was real torture. She hardly managed to get a B. Manizha didn't even dream of getting an A. Everything changed when she happened to go to a competition in mental arithmetic, when she saw how easily children of various ages calculated in their heads. Manizha became eager to begin training. Mental arithmetic is an educational method for children ages 4 to 16. With quite ancient roots. The point is that imagining the counting frame, the abacus, a child not only learns to count in his or her head, but also develops an imagination. Manizha started training 1 hour a day according to this system, and in a year she managed to develop really phenomenal mathematical abilities.
Well, initially, I operated with one-digit numbers. It was very slow, with intervals of 1 second. Now I can operate with two-digit numbers, with intervals of 0.5 seconds. For example, with multiplication and division, I can solve 20 math problems in about 3 minutes. I became more self-confident, and it helps me in my life in general, and in other school subjects in particular. For example, before, I couldn't understand biology or history at all. I read, and I couldn't understand the point, but now I have top grades in these subjects. Hello.
Hello. Hello, Manizha. Are you ready?
Yes.
Great. Then position yourself so that you can see the screen.
To check whether or not Manizha really calculates that fast, the experts have prepared the following task for her. Our hero will have to add the second add-in, 34, to the resulting sum 12 times. Of course, Manizha has to calculate as fast as she can, and of course make no mistakes. The experts will measure the time with the help of a timer.
97, 131, 165, 199, 233, 267, 301, 335, 369, 403, 437.
Yes, stop. Those are very, very good results. Manizha, your results are very good. We're impressed. Are you ready to repeat it once again so that we know that it wasn't by chance?
Yes.
Then let's do this over again. Turn to the screen. Numbers will appear.
85, 133, 181, 229, 277, 325, 373, 421, 469, 517, 565, 613, 661.
Stop, Manizha. You coped with the task well. It took you 20 seconds. In other words, this time the results were better by 1 second. Great.
Thank you.
Could you explain to us what you do with your hands when you calculate? Do you have to do that, or can you calculate without it?
I visualize the abacus and calculate on it. We have various formulas and methods. With the help of my fingers, I imagine the abacus in my hands and calculate this way.
And you keep all the answers in your head, right? We had 12 tasks, and each of them you kept in your head, right?
Yes.
What do you mean?
I imagine the abacus, this counting frame, and I imagine that I'm holding and moving the beads, and that's how I calculate.
Great.
I don't know how to explain it. I kind of feel it with my hands.
Well, frankly speaking, all these tasks don't look very difficult to me. So I have a suggestion. Is it possible to make it more difficult? I mean, to make up something to see that you can do more complicated things?
Yes, I can combine several actions. For example, I can calculate and sing simultaneously.
Are you ready to demonstrate that right now?
Yes.
Let's give it a try. 18. Ready, steady, go.
Azure space is a flame up above. I've forgotten my home destination.
This time, fast subtraction is joined with fast addition. And of course, singing. By the way, Manizha is performing a famous song, Azure Space is a Flame Up Above, with lyrics by Sergei Esenin.
Oh, bother. How I wish that, disliking your past, you couldn't leave me for another. 35.
35? Yes. Wow, great. Great, you finished the exercise in 54 seconds.
Wonderful results. Two difficult, independent processes, mathematical calculation and singing a cappella, and Manizha coped with them not only fast and beautifully, but without any mistakes.
Could you make this task even more difficult?
Yes, I'm going to play the piano, sing, and calculate simultaneously.
Great. Are you ready to show us?
Yes. Praised by hundreds of poets, you inspire with beauty. And we're proud of this beauty. We send messengers overseas.
It really looks phenomenal to perform three difficult cognitive processes simultaneously. Besides, we can find the fourth process here. At some point, Manizha switched to Tajik. In other words, technically, she sang using two languages. As for the musical aspect, it became even better. But what about the mathematical aspect? Let's find out.
$70.
Great. Well done. I think it's wonderful, Manizha. I'm happy with your performance. No kidding.
Thank you.
Frankly speaking, it's quite unbelievable for me because just to calculate, I would probably be able to do that if I practiced a bit, but to calculate, sing, and play at the same time is a wow for me.
15-year-old Manizha showed really unique abilities, but we have two other participants ahead. Let's see if they're able to surprise our jury.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anvar. I'm 19 years old and I live in Moscow. I'm good at mental calculation.
Anvar has been good at mathematics since primary school. Probably for this reason, he decided to further develop his arithmetic abilities. Thus, practicing mental calculation became one of Anvar's favorite hobbies. Practicing for only 10 minutes a day for 3 years, he finally forgot what it means to use a calculator. Indeed, why do you need this calculation device if your own brain works with equal efficiency? Today, Anvar not only quickly adds and subtracts multi-digit numbers in his head, but also easily multiplies and divides 2-digit, 3-digit, and even 4-digit numbers.
I think that anyone can develop such abilities, such skills in mental calculation. In my opinion, the only things you need are practice and willpower.
Well, we're going to give you the following tasks. First of all, division. Please step up to the screen. First of all, 3-digit numbers will be divided by single-digit numbers, then 4-digit numbers, 5-digit numbers, and then we'll see the results. Are you ready? Let's go.
98, 33, 92, 97.
Okay, now 4-digit numbers will appear. Get ready.
100, 123, 300, 345, 358, 300.
Any complex division is broken up into a row of separate mathematical operations. You have to keep in mind the intermediate results of each such operation before you proceed to the next stage of the calculation. If you're distracted or lose your concentration for only a moment, you'll have to start from the very beginning.
888, 900, 984,
Anvar, get ready. 5-digit numbers will appear now.
6400, 8000, 8526, 6305,
It's amazing that while dividing five-digit numbers by single-digit numbers, Anvar didn't make any errors. At the same time, in the easier task, dividing four-digit numbers by single-digit numbers, he made two errors at once. Let's see how our participant will cope with even more difficult tasks.
90, 92050,
Thank you. You made 2 errors this time, but I think that this isn't a problem because you made no errors at all with 5-digit numbers. That's it. Could you give us an execution time? Well, as for 3-digit numbers, it was about 5 to 10 seconds. As for 4-digit numbers, it was probably about 10 to 20 seconds. As for 5-digit numbers, it was, well, the range is quite wide. Here it is 20 seconds. Sometimes it's much less, say 15 seconds. Well, as a whole, I can see that some things are really unusual, which, especially with 5-digit numbers. This is difficult. These tasks are difficult. And it's wonderful that you can divide such numbers. And what about division by 2-digit numbers?
Sure.
Look, let's divide 575. 575 divided by 23. Got it. Yes, it's right. The right answer, 25, and quite fast.
But these are not only tasks which our math experts prepared for Anvar. Numerous multiplication tasks are waiting for us.
Let's begin.
1035, 4, 4060, 4, 4000, 752, 400, 4, 460, 3, 3,604.
All in all, only one unfortunate error. Let's proceed to the next trial. Multiplication of two-digit numbers by two-digit numbers.
2,775. 2,400. 400. 500. 503.
To understand, at least vaguely, how difficult it is to multiply such numbers in your head, take a piece of paper and a pen and try to keep Anvar's pace multiplying these numbers using the column method.
3,020. 3332. 2304.
Thank you.
Right now, Anvar is going to undergo a trial which the experts have called super multiplication. Multiplication of three-digit by three-digit numbers. And you won't believe it, 10-digit by 10-digit numbers. To perform such mathematical operations, Anvar needs a board and a marker pen. Indeed, it will be very difficult for Anvar to keep in mind all the intermediate mathematical calculations.
39,183.
Next one, please.
In 9 tasks of multiplying three-digit numbers by three-digit numbers, Anvar made 5 errors. It should be noted that he spent from 20 to 50 seconds on each task.
The last super task. Ready?
Yes.
Go on.
It seems absolutely impossible to solve such a task in one's head. Yet Anvar begins to make calculations quite confidently. This time the experts decided not to start the timer. In this case, the right answer is more important than the time spent on it. If Anvar gives the right answer, it will be undoubtedly phenomenal.
Are you ready to tell us the number?
No.
But you can read it, right? You can read it digit by digit.
Okay. 10, 127, 710, 490, 151, 604, 649.
Thank you. Thank you, Anvar.
This number is really huge, but unfortunately, Anvar failed. The right answer is 10 quintillion, 176 quadrillion, 760 trillion, 611 billion, 861,604,659. In sum, Anvar has 8 wrong digits in the 20-digit number.
Well, probably it can be explained by the fact that in one of the orders an error was made and it affected the following orders. Yes, you're absolutely right. This chain reaction at some point, but then finally, the result in the highest orders turned out to be right. Yes. Actually, it was a surprise for me because I thought that starting from the 7th order, almost everything was right. Digit 5 to the right in the 2nd order was wrong, but then till the 7th order, everything was right. And then he started to make errors. I thought these errors would be further along, but I was mistaken. The highest orders turned out to be right. You've gotten the results back, and it's really interesting. You've finished your calculations, and the order is right, and the first digits are right as well. Well, anyway, you can improve your skills. So, Anvar, we want to encourage you to bring your abilities to perfection so as to solve tasks like this.
During the trial, Anvar managed to solve 66 very difficult mathematical tasks in his head, and he made 12 errors. Is that a lot? We'll find out later.
Hello, my name is Timur. I'm 30 years old and I live in Moscow. I have phenomenal ability for decoding binary codes.
A binary code is a sequence of zeros and one symbols, with the help of which any information can be represented in a binary system. It is known as well that there is a good, reliable algorithm for the conversion of binary numbers to decimal. It's taught in ICT classes in schools. However, Timur is sure that his method is too difficult and not suitable for fast calculations. So Timur invented his own algorithm. It has only 3 mathematical operations, which our hero processes very quickly in his head.
The idea is that I use my own already prepared samples. I understand how many numbers and what numbers I can remember. In other words, I explored the calculation resources of my brain. I estimated my maximum and minimum thresholds, the speed at which I can solve tasks. Then I compared all the data and chose the fastest algorithm.
At present, he invents mathematical algorithms and is preparing to become a candidate of physical and mathematical sciences. But some time ago, Timur wasn't good at exact subjects in school. He was one of the weakest pupils in his class.
I had big problems with math. At one point, I had to work hard even to keep pace with other pupils and to get good grades. And then suddenly I realized that I was among the best pupils. Actually, here they are, my abilities.
I think that the first task will be very easy for you. Now a binary sequence will appear on the screen. Each binary sequence is a number and you have to decode it. Each number is a password to the tablet and you have to walk up to it and enter the password, okay?
Let's have a go at it.
If Timur decodes it correctly, he will get access to all 3 devices. So here's the first binary sequence, the first 4-digit number. Password is encoded here.
Well, this number is 1540, 1540.
Okay, please come up to the tablet and enter this number. Maybe the next one? Oh,
Great,
voila! My congratulations.
I've done it.
Not bad, but 2 other binary numbers are waiting ahead. Let's see if Timur is able to decode them faultlessly as well.
1792.
Please. Great. It works. Congratulations, the last number. Ready?
Yes. $18.54.
Well done. Great. Great.
Timur managed to decode all 3 numbers. By the way, each of them is symbolic. The password for the first device is 1540. This is the year that Francois Vita was born, a French mathematician and the founder of symbolic algebra. The second password was 1792. Nikolai Lobachevsky, a Russian mathematician and one of the founders of the non-Euclidean geometry, was born that year. And finally, the third password was for the third device. Jules-Henri Poincaré, another great mathematician, was born in 1854.
Timur, you coped with the first task very well. Now we have a second task for you. It's more difficult. You're going to see a projection of some binary numbers. You have to guess what they are.
This task is difficult not only because the unknown number is converted from the decimal system to binary, but also because an additional encoding method is used here. Each digit in the binary sequence was separately coded with the help of the HTML table of symbols. How did we do it? Let's take the digit 5. Its binary code is 101. Now open the HTML table of symbols. Here we can see that each digit of letter has its own code. So digit 1 is a certain HTML code, and digit 0 has a different HTML code. In other words, 1 is the 49th symbol and 0 is the 48th symbol in this table of symbols. But numbers which are used in programming are represented in hexadecimal systems. So we have to convert 48 and 49 to the binary system using the additional function of a scientific calculator. Thus, 49 equal to 1 is represented like this, 48 equal to 0, like this. Now, instead of 1 and 0 digits in the binary code of the digit 5, we insert the resulting sequences as a result. Due to such a double system, the digit 5 now looks like this. With the help of double coding, 4 new numbers were shown to Timur. Each of them is much bigger than 5, so binary codes look much more considerable in size. However, our experts are sure that the double coding is just a diversion.
At first sight, the sequence has 2 different symbols. I suppose that these are coded 1 and 0 digits. Well, let's try to understand what it is. Well, any logical number is represented with 1 in the first place. Numbers never begin with 0. Consequently, the first symbol is 1. So we get the number 1 0 0 1 0 0 1. $73?
Let's check the answer.
Let's check it.
That's right.
Unbelievable. Timur correctly decoded the number, by the way, the number 73, as a palindrome in the binary system. In the binary system, this number is read equally in both directions. Well, there's another image on the screen for Timur, and there are more digits here because we encoded a 3-digit number.
$4.96.
Let's check it.
Great, yes, I knew it.
This number is perfect because it's equal to the sum of its proper divisors, and Timur easily decoded it. However, the next sequence is even more difficult. It contains 60 digits. Here, the 4-digit number palindrome 1001 is coded. We'll see right now if Timur is able to decode it.
The number is 1001.
1001. Let's check it. Great. Actually, one thing is interesting to me. We used a specific symbol table for the coding. Could you determine what symbol table it was? Well, to help you, we'll show, say, the last number to you.
Wait a bit. Well, I suppose this is HTML coding.
Yes, that's right. But as far as I'm concerned, you didn't take it into account when you solved the tasks, right?
I took regularity and sequence into account. I didn't care what coding was used. Well, I'm familiar with some base coding systems. I can see the sequence there. But it was HTML coding.
How difficult were these tasks for you?
From the point of view of arithmetic, they were not very difficult. It was difficult to represent numbers in their initial form. But that's all due to the specific coding, HTML in this particular case.
Let's see if Timur is further able to use his algorithm. This time our experts coded not a whole number, but a rational number. In addition, they assigned a corresponding symbol to the point and coded it with a separate binary sequence. Will Timur be able to recognize it? Will he understand that this time it's not a whole number?
I can see more than 2 symbols here. I can see 3.
Yes. Well, let's check.
Well, let's begin. I think here some separator is used. Well, it's possible to break up this information into groups of numbers. Well, the first number resembles 1 very much. The second number is not repeated anywhere. I suppose that it's kind of a separator. Then we get one number, two numbers, 1 and 618. Two numbers separated by a point.
Well, let's check. Great. Timur, you're absolutely right. Do you know what number this is?
It doesn't look like a root. It doesn't look like the number pi.
This is the number 5.
Right. I remember now.
Pi is a really legendary number. Indeed, the number pi became part of the history of painting and architecture as a symbol of the golden ratio. Well, let's think that Timur didn't recognize such a famous number because of his excitement.
Timur, you know, on the one hand, the result is interesting, but on the other hand, I solved the same tasks on paper in parallel with you, and generally speaking, I spent roughly the same time.
Sure. You don't need to keep anything in mind.
Exactly, you don't need to keep anything in mind. But anyway, it turns out that, say, your abilities in general are comparable with the abilities of ordinary people. To tell the truth, I'm not good at mental calculation, who do calculations on paper.
Well, this is a matter of practice. When you write on paper, you can see everything. You can use another memory type. Well, of course, if you have a calculator, it will be much faster to enter two numbers and convert it. But if you don't have a calculator, or you have to go somewhere for it, then it will be much faster to do the easiest operations in your head. That's the advantage of my method.
Timur made no errors at all. But which participant will our experts recognize as the best? Whose mathematical abilities will be recognized as phenomenal? We'll find out right now.
Well, colleagues, let's draw conclusions. Manizha was the first participant. Well, of course, singing distracts very much from calculating. I mean, I would be distracted for sure, so of course the ability to sing and calculate at the same time is quite interesting. And taking into account that she's only 15 years old, I think she has quite interesting abilities. I think that to some extent her abilities are innate, but in general, of course, it's a skill. Right, this is undoubtedly a skill. Perhaps the things which Anvar showed us were more interesting? Yes, because it's clear that, of course, it's a skill as well, but he hasn't reached his full potential yet. But anyway, these are abilities which at least surpass ordinary abilities. As for Anvar, unfortunately he made some errors. The last task we offered him was difficult, but unfortunately he made some errors. By the way, if we're talking about his errors, we must admit that he made them, but if we look at the percentage of his errors, we'll see that it's less than 1%. Finally, Timur. I would say what Timur did was all Greek to me. It was a big mystery for me. I was amazed at his ability to convert the binary code to the decimal code. I like very much that he invents his own algorithms. He doesn't use algorithms invented by other people. It's kind of art, and as a mathematician, I like it. As a man who always solves mathematical problems, I like it. Well, I think that the system which he uses is interesting by itself. It will be interesting for everybody. Which participant is more interesting from a scientific point of view? Well, in my opinion, Timur is the closest to science. I agree, Timur is the most interesting candidate. Yes. Well, it will be quite interesting to see how he will use his system for other tasks as well. Yes, I think this is a reasonable decision.
We made sure that Timur is able to convert in his head any binary code from a binary system to a decimal system. The algorithm which he invented as a successful solution to such tasks aroused intense interest in the experts. However, the experts are not yet ready to call such a creative approach to solving mathematical problems phenomenal. To make up their minds, they decided to carry out an additional experiment, during which we'll find out if Timur's algorithm is really universal and suitable for solving true irregular tasks. So Timur is going to do some decoding again. This time, binary numbers will be coded in the form of the sequence of various items, which we'll place in this room. How will we do it? You'll see right now. Let's take, for example, the simple number 10 and write it down in binary form. Now we have 1, 0, 1, 0. And now let's assign to the digits 1 and 0 their own shape and color. For example, 1 digits will be black squares and 0 digits white squares. Now the binary view of the number 10 will be represented as black, white, black, white. In general, any items can be chosen for such coding. Pillows, chairs, tables, or books. It's important that 2 contrast colors be present in sequences of identical items: black and white, yellow and red, cayenne and blue, and so on. The trick is that the color of the first item in any sequence always corresponds to the digit 1, because all binary numbers always begin with the digit 1. When we know that we can easily find 0 and 1 digits in 2 sequences, write down the resulting binary code. Take a calculator and you can easily understand that 4 red, yellow chairs correspond to the number 11. The experiment for Timur will be built on this unusual concept, apart from the fact that he won't have a calculator. So we've hidden in the room 3 numbers which were suggested by our experts: 23, 1646, and 1894. We converted each number in the binary system and then coded them using the sequence of the same repeating items. For that purpose, we chose books with contrast covers, chess pieces, but not all, and lamps on a stand marked with crosses. The task for Timur is to discover the successive items, recognize a binary code, faultlessly decode it, and give us the resulting number. Of course, the big lamp stand draws Timur's attention at once. Out of 100, only 29 lamps are turned on. They're arranged in certain patterns. In addition, the 4th row of lamps from above and the first lamp in the 5th row are now marked with black crosses. Where is the hidden number?
At first sight, there's obviously a sequence of marks here.
In fact, we marked with crosses a linear sequence of lamps, which is part of the number's coding. In all, there are 11 crosses there. That means that the binary code contains 11 digits. It begins with a burning lamp, so it's the digit 1. Switch off lamps are digits 0. Thus, we get a binary view of the number 1646. But will Timur be able to see it?
Usually numbers go from left to right and top down. Let's see, the number is 1646.
Timur found and correctly decoded the first number. Let's go on.
Well, the chess pieces are arranged on the board in a certain order. But what order?
Timur has managed to find items in which the binary sequence is hidden. There are many chess pieces on the board, but only one number is coded.
Well, on the one side, the sequence is from right to left here. On the other side, in reverse order.
Timur is right. The number coded by this chess piece sequence is small but artful. Depending on the point of view, the result will be different.
I can obviously see here two numbers, 29 and 23. My choice is 23.
That's right. To tell the truth, if Timur had chosen the number 29, we would have accepted the answer. The binary sequence has an inverted representation as well, hence both variants are correct. Timur goes around the room several times, stopping at the same items each time, as if he doesn't notice that there's another very interesting object in the room, the bookcase.
The sequence of dark and dark, and dark, and dark, and dark, and light colors.
The bookcase is the most difficult object in the room. There are lots of items on every shelf, and many of them look like non-accidental sequences.
Well, I see a black figure above, white, again dark, 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 and books facing towards me with the light sides.
The third number is hidden on this shelf. Take notice of the black and silver book backs. By means of them, we coded the number 1894.
There are three similar boxes above. I can't see a sequence. On the third shelf, I can see the sequence of the covered and uncovered books. Well, let's assume that it, like any number, begins with the digit 1. 105.
If Timur is on the right track, he will build up the following binary sequence in his mind. That is how the number 1894 looks in the binary system.
The answer is 1894.
Amazing! Timur found all three numbers, which we thoroughly coded in this room. He not only correctly recognized the items, sequences, he saw the binary codes in them, but also decoded them with the help of his unique algorithm. In addition, he did all these non-trivial mathematical calculations quite fast in his head. No doubt the abilities of Timur can be recognized as phenomenal. Imagine that this man wasn't good at math in school. If you still think that you're not capable of calculation and bad at exact sciences, we have good news for you. You can not only develop your talent for mathematics, but make it phenomenal. Timur could do it. Now, it's your turn.